Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we all hope you had a very, very happy new year. And we're excited to dive into 2025. But before we do that, we have to talk about 2024 and the best non-Christmas Hallmark movies they had. I have 54 on my list non-Christmas. And that is including, that 54 does include the Hallmark Plus. But yeah, so it was a lot of content that they made this year. And it's going to be fun to give our top 10s. And I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and Dara's here.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, everybody.
How are you doing?
How you doing, Rachel? Oh, I beat you to it. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Yeah. I mean, how do you feel about Hallmark's 2024 in general? Like, do you feel like it was a good year?
This, and I said this in our summer nights recap. We had a first class trip on the struggle bus for 2024. Like that, by far was a hard year as a Hallmark watcher personally. Like that was rough. Like I don't even have like I didn't even. I only listed throughout the year the movies that I actually like. So I just didn't even put down the movies that I didn't like. So I'm like 54, and I really only liked like 13 or 14 of them, which is wild. But yeah, that 2024 was a struggle. So I'm hoping, with Winter Escape, it seems like that's very strong. I know we're going to have at least we're having a good start to the year. So
I mean, I yes, I'm hopeful, but the travel movies, I do have a couple on my list, but sometimes those can be so bad. Like,
true.
For me, the worst of the worst last year was Falling in Love in Niagara. Was just painful. I hated both.
I forgot about that movie.
Oof. It was absolutely awful. They were both so bad. And then for me, for Love and Honey, I call it the Staring at Walls movie. I'm like, it is unbelievable how much time was spent just these two actors just looking at this wall. Like, what? You're in Malta.
That was yeah.
Like, it was just baffling. And then the Whitewater movie was terrible. Two Scoops of Italy was one of the most boring movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yes. Woo! Wow, you're bringing back all the stuff I tried to block out. And then there was everything. Woo, man.
A lot of triggering going on.
Yeah.
Love and Jane was, I thought, really bad. And miscast, that was the problem. The two characters were too old. The actors were too old for those roles. They just were. And no chemistry. It was bad. And then Love on the Right Course. Oh my gosh, that movie. I guess that was
I didn't even attempt
movie too.
Yeah, I was in Budapest, but I'm like, why we got to go to Budapest to golf? So like, I wasn't.
And Hallmarkies fans, please help me, because I don't understand how in the world does Love on the Right Course and The Heiress and the Handyman, two terrible, out of the best.
Oh, I forgot about that too.
Why?
Oh gosh.
Hey, I don't understand it. Like,
we gotta stop this. We gotta stop this because those shouldn't be allowed to air. Those shouldn't be allowed to air.
Yeah, wow. But,
Everything Puppies was a stinker to me too.
Yeah,
Everything Puppies.
That was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Yeah, and it was not the best.
Not in a long shot. It was like Hallmark Plus was our saving grace.
But we are going to talk about some good stuff, so.
Yes! Because they did have some good ones.
And I have to say, the fall really did save it, because I have 4 out of my top 10 are from the fall.
Yeah. I have 3 from fall, 3 from summer.
Like,
yeah.
You made up.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
But let's dive in. What do you have at number 10?
Number 10, Rachel, I have Falling Together with Ashley Williams and Paul Campbell.
I have it at 10. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it was so darn cute. Ashley and Paul together were just adorable. It gave me the cheesy autumnal feels that I wanted and that I love in my fall into love movies. And I just loved how they dealt with Alzheimer's in this as well. Like I felt like it was appropriate. Like it wasn't too deep or too dramatic because it was still the Hallmark Channel, but it still had enough heart where it pricked me, and I was like, I got emotional. And so I thought they just did really, really well with that movie, and I loved it.
You know, one thing I loved, I agree with everything you said, but the thing I loved about this movie is that I've been wanting Hallmark to make a movie where they treat basically like a building in a city as like a small town, like give all the dynamics of a small town, but put it in a building. And that's basically what they did. Like the building, HOA, person she was basically like the mayor, and you had like kind of all the different dynamics, but it makes it feel fresh when it's in a new setting. So I thought that was really smart. Her personality, like the reason why it's 10 is her personality was kind of a lot. Like if I lived in that building, I would not.
Yeah.
She was a lot, but still overall it was sweet.
It was sweet, and I felt Paul Campbell's character was like a grouch with a past. Like you could tell that there was more to him than just kind of his rough and tough exterior. And I appreciated that we got to see his character melt throughout the story, and it was just really endearing. And I enjoyed the ride.
Yeah. Well, we're on the Paul Campbell love train right now because number 9, I have The Cases of Mystery Lane, Death is Listening.
You included mysteries.
I did, yeah. This is the only one. And this one, it was kind of made, I felt like sort of made for me because it's all about investing in this podcast, and podcast host, gets killed. And he's like Matt Hamilton, who I just love so much. And he was hilarious interviewing all these podcast hosts, and they're all like, yeah. I'm like, this is what all very quirky podcasters are. It was fun. I enjoyed it. So I had it at 9. What do you have at 9?
Oh, I just want to echo, that's probably one of my favorite mysteries of the year is the Death is Listening of Cases. But for me, number 9 is My Dreams of You. I really, really liked how whimsical that movie is, and and Allura, like she's hands down one of my favorite characters of the year, and I want another Dreams movie where we deal with another person. The
handler, the Dreams, she was hilarious. I loved her so much.
Yes, I love the whole Dream Center thing. Like, I would watch a series of movies of them just going on different quests and tasks about these dreams of people. Like, I enjoyed myself so much with that movie. I
do like in the summer movies, they did have a little bit of whimsy with My Dreams of You, Junebug, and The Magical Lemon Drops. All 3 of those. That was fun that they tried. I like that.
Yes. I myself have been described as whimsical, so I feel like I relate to those are the type of movies that I relate to the most.
Well, you'll laugh because at number 8 I have My Dreams of You.
Listen, we're on the same wavelength. I'm telling you. We really are. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah. What do you have at 8?
At 8, I have His and Hers
There
with
you
Brennan
go.
Elliott and Lacey Chabert. I'm a sucker for city landscape, so I'm glad we're in the city. Brennan and Lacey
Yeah.
together was great. The story was weird, like especially at the end, but I think because I love Brennan and Lacey so much, and then the Easter eggs that they dropped in throughout the
Yeah.
movie, and them being in the city, and I love the fashion.
Yeah.
Those things won it over for me.
I
So
was so surprised by the ending with the celebrity couple that they were just like
yeah.
using them and like they committed fraud,
Yes.
and it was just like, okay. Like what? But I
Right, and
did
we just
enjoy
supposed to
it.
accept that? No.
Like
I
what?
did not like that at all.
It was bizarre, and the ending was a little bit silly, but I did enjoy it. I have that higher on my list, so yeah, it was good.
Okay.
It felt like there's two of mine that felt like pilots of television shows more than actual
Yes.
movie, and this would be one of them.
Yes. Yeah. I know exactly. And I have one that feels like the pilot for a TV show as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, number 7, I have Pagey Mr. Darcy.
Oh.
Yeah, I have Page Mr. Darcy. I liked I thought the concept was fun, and her being this kind of stuffy professor coming over there,
Yeah.
and Will Kemp's great, and I'm here. The downside to this movie is her sister was a lot of
Yeah.
personality. It was a
Yeah.
lot, but other than that, I thought it was pretty cute.
Yeah. And I think her sister was that person from Death is Listening who we
Yes,
thought,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
like I like her.
well, and Lillian, I just interviewed her actually because she was in Confessions of a Christmas Letter too.
Yes.
She's
Yes.
funny.
Yes.
She's really good.
Yes.
I think her last name is Dose Roche or something like. Anyway, so it's a different last name, but she's fantastic, and she was good in the role. It was just kind of annoying. It wasn't,
Yeah.
but other than that, it was a pretty cute movie, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm a
fair.
big Austen person, so I went into Jane Austen month very nervous because
Yeah.
most of Hallmark's attempts to do Jane Austen have been really annoying. Have been
Yeah.
like it's just been name only. Like they don't even
Mhm.
try to tell the story. Like Pride, Prejudice, and
Mhm.
Mistletoe was one of my least favorite ever. And like there's nothing in there that's Pride and Prejudice-y. And if you were going to do a modern day Pride and Prejudice, the last person that you would cast as a Darcy type is Lacey Chabert. That makes no sense. And I mean, at least like in the Pemberley one, which was still bad, but at least like Jessica Lowndes has like a little bit more of that energy, to play a Darcy type.
Mhm.
Like that makes a little more sense. But like,
Mhm.
but that was still mostly name only. They make
Yeah.
Wickham the friendly mayor. That's so annoying. I hate that. And so I was very skeptical going into Jane Austen month, but it was pretty good. It was pretty decent, I think. That except for the Love and Jane, I didn't like that one, but other than that, it was pretty decent. I thought so that was good. But yeah, Paige and Mr. Darcy. What do you have at 7?
7, I have Blind Date Book Club with
Oh,
Aaron
okay.
Krakow and Robert Buckley. I really enjoyed the setting of it, being in this like quaint New England town. It was it felt like a spring movie.
Yeah.
I know we had Shifting Gears was supposed to be our kickoff for Spring into Love, but I don't count that.
That
I felt
was
like
that was underwhelming. Shifting gears, like
that.
I mean, I just can't understand that if they're going to be starting this new program, you would think that they would want to give one of the best scripts of the year, like give it a little bit more of a budget. The whole thing just felt so cheap, and I don't know, I just found it kind of baffling. I'm like, this is such a weird project to start this new thing that you're doing for the directors. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was weird.
It was.
I mean,
I was disappointed
it
because
was average, but like,
Yeah.
why would you make this movie average? That just was very strange to me.
Yeah, I was more so disappointed because I
Yeah,
felt
me too.
like it definitely could have been more than what it was, and I felt
Yeah,
like Tyler, I know they put Tyler in it just so that it could get views, but it's like let's stop doing that
no.
and
Yeah, I
actually just
agree.
give, cast people that are appropriate for these roles instead of just putting
Yeah.
certain people in them just so that they can get eyes. Like
Well, I
that
mean,
was what was disappointing for me.
and Tyler should be glad that he has the Wise Men movies because most of his other stuff has not been doing it for me. I did like the
Yeah,
Chiefs movie pretty good, but like when he's playing, he's done a lot of like the cool guys, and
yeah,
that's just not for me. I'm not interested in that. Like him being that in that movie with Rhiannon when he's like on the motorcycle, he's doing all these like
yeah,
cool boy shots, you know. And then
yeah,
literally in Never Been Kissed, where he is still the popular guy in from
yeah,
high school, like that was so cringe. And I don't know. I
yeah,
just feel like he's letting this fandom kind of get or either they're casting him in either they're letting the fandom get to him or he's letting it, who knows. But like I just liked him way better when he was like the humble kind of shy awkward guy and that's what he gets to be in the Three Wise Men,
yeah.
and I just like that way better. It's way more attractive to me.
I definitely think the network got a hold of the heinies in the sense that
Yeah.
they understood kind of his effect on the network, and rightfully so. Like he's a dope guy and he can act,
Yeah.
but I think they began to typecast him, and I think A Picture of Her was the first kind of iteration of that because, much like you said, every movie after that, he's always typecasted as like this specific dude, and I personally think it's the network doing it, and
Yeah.
I'm like we gotta stop. Like, and I understand the groomsmen, and I still haven't watched the groomsmen yet, but I know,
Like
like the fact
certain
that the groomsmen that should have been on the network, like
yeah, that's
that should not have been on.
ridiculous. But like there's certain actors who can really play the movie star role really well. Like I think Ryan
Yes,
Pavey. Like Ryan Pavey is best playing like Darcy. This is just my opinion. Playing like a Darcy type or like a movie star type or something like that. Like that works for him. But I just think that whereas like some of his roles where he's tried to play more like the every man kind of haven't worked as well for me. Whereas like
yeah.
Tyler, I feel the opposite. So and I know nobody likes to get pigeonholed, but I just liked the earlier Tyler much better than
I know. I watched his Christmas Eve for the first time over this
yeah
past Christmas season, and I was like, where is this?
yeah
What happened?
yeah
Like I definitely like feel what you're saying where it's like I do miss those type of movies from
yeah
him. But we'll see what 2025 has to hold.
yeah. It should be interesting. What do you have at 6?
Six, what do I have at six? I have Junebug with Autumn
Okay,
Reeser.
yeah,
That movie was just so cute, and
it's
I
cute.
never
Yeah,
wanted a movie to be turned into a book as much as I wanted that movie to be turned into a book. I think Aaron O'Connell, he was
yeah.
the lead, the male lead in that.
Yeah, they
His
didn't really need a
character,
romance in that one though. I felt like.
no,
Yeah.
no, and I
And when
really,
she
yeah,
destroys his mural and he's all like, "Oh, I don't care at all." I'm like, "Come on, yeah, you would." Nobody would not care, even if you didn't like the mural. Like if you'd worked on it, you would
agreed.
care. You
Agreed.
know.
I really want to know more about his character because I feel like he has a deeper backstory than what the movie led on that I want to know more about, which is why I'm like, we need a book. And I think there's so much too with Autumn Reeser's character Juniper that we could dive into in book form. And so
Yeah.
I'm hoping Summer Israel, she's the one who wrote it. If you hear me, please write a book or something because I would love to know more about
Yeah.
and explore more about those
Yeah.
characters.
Well, my number 6, it was a very swooning movie. I have The Real West.
Oh my god! Yes, I had that up higher, but yes,
Okay,
yes.
yeah. Very swoony, very romantic. This is like an old
Ooh.
school romance novel energy to it, which I really appreciated. And I mean, the only thing like I didn't really need the sister also like
Yeah,
that was unnecessary. Like there was
agreed.
no. Sometimes I think they feel a need to add more conflict than there needs to be. They're like
Yeah,
just her like and him trying to figure out this new relationship and the ranch and everything that was enough. We didn't need
yeah,
the sister to also be dating him. Like that was weird. But
agreed.
other than that, it was very swoony, it was very romantic, great kiss, great. And I love, nobody can do like the tender goodbye better than Kimberly Sutton. She's like,
Mm.
I wanted to see if you would say goodbye to, if you would ask me to stay or whatever. She's like, That was really
She
good.
was so good in this. And actually, it's not that far up, though. The Real West is my number 5. So it's
Okay.
just
Yeah.
like that movie. She undersold it to me because I interviewed her for this.
Oh, yeah.
And she undersold it. And I was like, excuse me, you didn't tell me. Like, that movie
Oh,
was
yeah.
so steamy and spicy, and I was just like,
Yeah.
what do I need to give them a moment? Like, I felt like I was intruding as a viewer. It was like that movie was just beautiful, perfect, and it still felt cozy like autumn, and I felt like cinematically it felt warm like
Yeah.
autumn, even though it wasn't a direct or overt autumnal movie. But
I don't know if this was based on a book, but it really did feel like a Harlequin romance.
It felt like a grocery store novel.
Yeah, it
like
did.
I was, and I
Which
like,
I love.
woof,
So, yeah.
woof, woof, woof. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I'm here for
Well,
it.
my number 5 is where I have His and Hers.
Okay, yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Liked that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the dynamic, the banter, I like the fact that not only was it about a married couple, but that
Yeah.
it's a married couple that evolves, and like the fact that he says, well, maybe I've changed now, I want to have I'm interested in having a kid, even though they were too old, who cares. But but that they were like, okay, let's talk about this, and it was just very like healthy.
Yeah.
And then he had the fidget spinners,
Yeah.
stuff. I relate to that because I do as well. And so yeah, it was quite good. If they started a His and Hers show, I would watch it.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Absolutely. Up and down. I think that would be great, actually.
Yeah. So what do you have at 4?
Number 4, I have An American in Austen.
I
I
have that
really,
higher,
really,
too. Yeah.
yeah, like that movie felt like a motion picture theatrical
I agree.
release. It was so perfect. I want to see the leading lady again. Like everything, I loved to me, it felt innovative how they had her in Pride and Prejudice, like in the book, and that how what she was doing impacted the actual storylines. I loved everyone that played the sisters. I thought they were casted perfectly. Like everything just worked for me for this movie, and I had such a fun time watching it. And it literally is a perfect movie for me and for that for the Jane Austen month. Like I thought it was perfect.
I agree. I have it higher. I loved it too. Well, my number 4, I have Haunted Wedding.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Another couple, like starts out as a couple. That's kind of interesting that I have 3 of, no, I have 3 of those on my list. But yeah, I thought it was really I thought it was fun, and the spooky aspects, the Halloween aspects, like were enjoyable, and it was just felt like something fresh. And Janelle Parrish, she just like hit it everything out of the park this year.
She killed. Sugar Plum was one of my favorite and I said
too.
there was no one else who could play that but her. Like
and
she
I wouldn't
she
have
killed
thought
it.
of her. I wouldn't have thought of her if they were asking me for casting. Like I don't know. Like she just I like her fine, but
who would you have thought?
I would have thought of
who
someone
would you
like
who are you
Say
thinking?
or
Oh.
Rachel Boston. I would have thought of like they scream like kind of like magic and like a little bit more to me. But she did absolutely great, and they nailed it, and she had a great year for Hallmark.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hey, this is David from the Piecing It Together podcast, a podcast about movies and the movies that inspire them. For over 4 years, each week, a guest and I take a look at a new movie through the lens of what other movies we think were either an influence or connect in some other way. It's a fun, unique way to discuss films that leads to a great list of other movies to check out that either explore the same themes and ideas or maybe utilize similar filmmaking techniques. Including special episodes in our side series that twist the format, we've done over 200 episodes, so there's bound to be one on a film you've been thinking about and want to dig deeper into. So check us out on all the major podcasting apps and at piecingpod.com.
So what do you have at 3?
3, I have Sense and Sensibility.
Oh, okay.
Our
Yeah.
Mahogany movie. That to me, next to Unthinkably Good Things, those two are the best Mahogany movies that we received.
Yeah.
And if anyone was like, what's like the, and no pun intended, but like the Hallmark Mahogany movie, it would be those two. I feel like is Unthinkably Good Things and Sense and Sensibility. I think from the costuming to the like the performance, the setting, everything like, and Sense and Sensibility was the one Jane Austen book, not one, but one of the books that I haven't read from her.
Okay.
But watching that movie made me want to read the book, and so I always. If it's anything, if a movie can get me to read it or want me to have a book version of it, I think it's doing something. So I loved everyone in it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. It's pretty high honorable mention for me. I wish that they had. I found a way to allow it to be a little longer, like maybe make it a two-parter. It did feel a little rushed.
Yeah,
and I think that was the only, like, if they made it a two-parter, I think that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But it's it's really hard to fit in such a long book into 80 minutes. That's tough. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. I was super bummed that it did so badly. Like, what on earth is wrong with people that they have The Heiress and the Handyman doing incredible ratings and Sensibility? Like, it had, I think, the worst ratings of the whole year.
Rachel, no.
Yeah, it was like 0.9. It was bad.
What?
Yeah. It did terrible, and I think that's why Mahogany is basically gone. Like, it's done. And I think this was their, I mean, and it's partly their fault, because the Mahogany movies were so bad they just
a good 5 to 6, like, literally.
Isn't that crazy?
That's unfortunate. And then I remember the whole buzz about like the Sense and Sensibility movie, and on social media, people kept saying, "Oh, well, it's not historically accurate." I'm like, y'all, shut up. It's a novel. Shut up.
It was pretty historically accurate.
Yes.
Some of the costumes looked a little, I call them a little Bo Peepy to me. Like, they were just a little, like, you don't need, like, they don't have to be like so accurate that like it hurts our enjoyment. Like, that's the thing that Bridgerton does so well. And this was obviously trying to tap in to like Bridgerton and some of the other things. And Bridgerton could care less about historical accuracy. Like, they don't care. They got like glitter, and they've got like lots of makeup on all the it's eyeshadow, and stuff like that. So but still, it was like reasonably accurate, and they tried, and they actually, that's what's sad, is you see them being so cheap so often, and here's one where they actually like spent some money and tried, and it just failed spectacularly.
I hate that so bad.
Sad. Yeah.
I hate that so bad.
And I wish that it had done better, but I do think that part of the reason is because they had I think part of the reason is because the Mahogany movies had been so bad. I
don't even think they tried with the Mahogany movies.
No.
Because you could tell with Unthinkably Good Things and Sense and Sensibility when they try what it looks like, and I don't think they tried.
No, I agree. They were really bad. But yeah, it got 0.94 in the ratings.
That's crazy to me.
Just in
crazy.
Like something, let's see here. I'm
still shocked. The Heiress and the
Handyman got 1.86.
Oh my! Oh,
God. It's double. It got double the ratings.
Oh my God!
Sensibility. It's so depressing.
This is the state of our union. This is the state of our nation. What are you guys going to do about it? This is my call to you, Americans. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
This is the state of our Hallmark nation right now.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's really sad. The Love on the Right Course, 1.78. Wow. The movie
Oh
was
my god.
so boring. Why? Why? Falling in Love in Niagara, 1.80. That movie was terrible. And then once it gets into Christmas, it starts to be higher, like the Chiefs movie, 2.88. Santa Tell Me was actually the highest of the,
Wow.
yeah, that one
Of the
got, where is
season?
it?
That beat Three Wiser Men?
Yes.
I'm shocked.
Where is it? Let's see here. Santa Tell Me, let's see. Oh, well, maybe because I swear they said that Santa Tell Me got the best ratings in there somewhere on
I
social
saw
media.
that.
But it says here it's 2.25 and Chiefs got 2.88. So maybe they were, Three Wiser Men got 2.37. So maybe they were including like streaming or something. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway, those were the highest.
Wow.
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild. Anyway. All right. Well, my number 3 is one that I think I had a bit of an unpopular opinion on. I liked more than most. Obviously, I have it at 3. Was A Costa Rican Wedding is my number 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah.
I thought it was really funny, and I liked it. To me, it felt like I could imagine Julia Roberts being in this movie, back in the 90s, or maybe a Sandra Bullock being in it, kind of that dynamic. And it was like old school rom-com. And I thought they had nice chemistry together. They built it well. They had like a good kiss, and back and forth. And so yeah, it seemed like other people really didn't like it. I really enjoyed it. So
that's cool. That would be an honorable mention for me.
Okay.
I love that movie. That to me is one of Chris Russell's best movies. Like I loved him in that, and I loved him with Rhiannon. I felt like they played off each other really, really well.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What do you have at 2?
Now I will say my top 2 can switch at any moment. Like they're tied for me, but just this is my Hallmark heart at present. So number 2 is Savoring Paris. That
I have it
one
at 2 as well. I have it at 2 as well.
Rachel, that movie, like literally, it made me think about my life as someone who works in corporate America. I had a Savoring Paris moment. I went away on vacation for 4th of July, and I loved where I was, and I was like, how can I stay here? I don't want to go back. I came back. Literally, the first meeting I had when I got back, this woman announces, I'm leaving the firm to pursue my dream as a whatever. And this literally happened. And I almost, but like after the meeting, I ran to my desk, got my phone, ran down to the lobby, called my sister in tears. I was like, what is going on? Why is my life happening like this? So like this movie will always have a special place in my heart because I feel like I can commiserate with the corporate misery that takes place within that movie, but it also gives me hope that there is more out there and that I can still achieve my dreams whatever they are. So this movie has such a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I had a similar experience when I was so unhappy with my job. This is in my late 20s, and I went to Hawaii, and I just was so happy in a way I hadn't been happy in a long time. And I called my dad the day before I was leaving, and I was just crying, and he's like, he's like, were your friends mean to you? I was like, no, they were really nice, but I was just so happy. I don't want to leave.
Oh man, have you been back to Hawaii since?
You know what? I sadly have not, but I really want to. I haven't been since 2011, which is sad.
Wow.
But I just realized I'm like, I need to feel joy in my life. That for so long I had this black cloud over my life, and I didn't know how to get out of it. And so I get it, what you're saying about like a Savoring Paris moment where you just realize like, I need joy. I need to feel happiness.
Like, what am I doing? Yes.
Yes. They did capture that so well. And the fact that she was there for months, she actually moved there, like just made it so good. And like their relationship built. And I liked the way they handled the other guy, that like,
love him.
He wasn't a bad guy. He was just like, this is just not where I'm at, and they were like, okay, cool. You're cool. Like, I don't know. They didn't demonize him. I didn't think,
Yeah.
the our cheese man was very swoony and fun. But yeah, I thought this is one that I think would be like a good gateway Hallmark movie that I think that I could recommend to just about anybody and they would appreciate it.
Absolutely. And the opening sequence gave me TV show vibes. That's one that I
Yeah,
thought was like a pilot for a TV show.
I agree. I think that it did, and that like his and hers, like I could see it being a pilot for a show. I
Yeah.
really could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and she
Yeah.
had good fashion.
I loved her
Looked
roommate
great.
who helped her
Oh
kind of
yeah,
like
she
get
was
out
good.
of I think Glotiel was her name.
Yeah, she was good.
I loved everyone.
Yeah,
Everyone. Even her mom, like I even felt for her mom because you could tell like her mom was doing the things that she was doing because she didn't want her daughter to leave her. Mind you, they weren't right in the sense of like how she was executing things, but just her mom, I felt for her mom too. I was like, oh, but
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because her mom wasn't a bad person, and it would have been easier to write her that way. But like, I
Yeah.
felt for her mom when she says like she has there's nothing for her to go back to, and then her mom's just kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
that's hurtful. Like, I guess I've never
Right.
been
Like
there.
I'm there.
That was
Right.
a
Right.
reasonable because when you have characters like Barbara Niven character in Leah's Perfect Gift, like that, she's not behaving in a reasonable way. Like because
Correct.
like I don't care if characters are mean or unkind necessarily if it fits into the story, or
Yeah.
even like a little bit crazy. That can work obviously, but like when they do things that aren't in their self interest, that don't make
Yeah.
sense for their character, they're not reasonable. Then it just kind of takes you out of the movie a little bit. That's like there's no way in the world that this woman who's trying to impress her, she wants her son to be happy. There's no world where she's going to take down that ornament. Like,
Yeah.
that's like a perfectly reasonable ornament. Like there's no world where she would do that. And so
Yeah.
then you start to be less invested in the characters. But in this case, the mother was pretty reasonable of like, I'm concerned
Yeah.
about you, I'm concerned about you doing this, I'm concerned about you thinking, like thinking this through, and you saying you have nothing to go home to, that's hurtful, so like
Yeah. Yeah.
you know
Absolutely. I
that's
ditto on
that's
everything you said.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it made sense. So it was a really good one.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
My number one is Where I Have an American in Austin. I agree with you. I think it's
Ah!
basically perfect. Hallmark movie. I loved the guy. He was so cute, and we didn't see that much of him, but he's actually in Bridgerton, so that was fun that they got him for this, and he's kind of a snob in Bridgerton, so it's nice that they got him here, and it was, I mean, such kismet that they have the actress is named Eliza Bennett. Unbelievable.
That's crazy. When I found that out, I was like, y'all did this on purpose or like what was that? Yes. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, and it was fun to see, okay, just like one little, like, because I think many of us when we read something like Pride and Prejudice, we think, what advice would I give Lizzie? What would I tell to Lydia? What would I tell, to these characters? And so she actually gets the chance to give that advice and then sees where it goes. Was a lot of fun. I mean, I do wish that it could have been like a teeny bit longer, because sometimes the 80 minutes just hurts these a little bit, but it was still very fun and definitely my favorite of the year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Now my number one, this one right
yes.
here. The Magic of Lemon Drops.
Oh,
I
okay.
was not
Yeah.
expecting that movie to hit me the way that it did in
Yeah.
terms of like, what would you do if you could do things over again?
Yeah.
I always resonate with those
That's a good
storylines.
theme. And when she
I
sees
love
her
it so much.
mom,
Oh,
oh,
that part took me out, especially when they're laying in their cute little dresses on the like that whole segment took me out.
yeah.
And I actually read the book after this, and the book is great. I totally recommend it. There are some spicier moments, in the book than
Okay. Uh-huh.
I would say references, not so much like actual moments, but it's some things that are
Oh, it's
alluded
like
to that I was like,
closed
oh,
door. It's like
yeah,
closed door.
yeah. You
Okay.
can just let your
Okay.
imagination, take you there. But
Okay.
I think the overall message, like Tracy Andreen, I'm now a fan of her writing because what she
Oh,
was able to do and how she captured the essence of the book, even after reading the book, made me love the movie
yeah.
even more because it's like she took the bright elements of the book because the book can get a bit dark at times as well, but she took the beautiful
Yeah.
bright elements of the book and made that into this beautiful movie. Lindsay Fonseca killed it for me this year between that and Holiday Crashers. Loved her. Ian Harding
Also,
can
Tracy
do
Andreen.
right, which is what made me even more excited to watch Holiday Crashers because after Lemon Drops, I was like, oh well, I know I'm gonna like this because Tracy's writing it. And then
Yeah.
Ian Harding can do no wrong in my eyes. He has yet to do wrong in my eyes, and I'm excited to see him in Ripple whenever that comes out. So this movie, like I've watched it 4 times, already, and
Yeah.
it's
It,
just
it
it has
was
a special place in my
it was
heart.
pretty high for me. I didn't really enjoy it. And yeah, Ian Harding, he's just killing it with these movies.
Killing it, killing it,
Ghost of
killing
Christmas
it.
Always, and being in the holidays, and this last thing, and so yeah, he's all over, and he's great. So, yeah, it's a
Hmm.
good pick. I have no problems with that. So there we go. That is our top 10 of Hallmark non-Christmas for 2024. Let us know what you think of our picks. We'd love to hear your thoughts and what would be your picks. Put it in the comment section or on Twitter, or if you do your own ranking or video or blog post, whatever you do, like tag us, let us know. We'd love to see what you enjoyed most. And Dara, thanks so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. And where can people find you and everything you do?
Well, thank you for having me, Rachel. It's always a blast to be here in Hallmarky's land. So for me, I do have a podcast called Dear Hallmark, which you can find wherever your ear takes in podcasts. So Apple, Spotify, things of that sort. And then I also have a YouTube channel by the same name, Dear Hallmark. And then you could follow me on Instagram at Dear Hallmark as well, where I go live a lot, cut up a lot. The family is really good over there. I would say Facebook, but I have not been consistent with that, and I don't know if I will continue to be. So we're just gonna act like Facebook don't exist. So if you find me on Facebook, don't even bother. So
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have all that information in the description, so make sure you check out everything Dara does. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. Also, make sure that you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod, Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And if you are listening to iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews for both of our podcasts. That would help us so much. Those 5-star reviews and ratings really, really, really help people to find and get the algorithm to work for us. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Our goal is to get to 10K subscribers by in 2025. We're not. It's a very reasonable goal. So if you are listening and you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. It really helps the algorithm a lot. So we would sure appreciate it. And then we have our Patreon group, which is the biggest way you can support us. And we have done patron watch-alongs and events with a ton of people that we talked about. We had Rhiannon Fish on once. We had Tracy Andreen on. We've had Nina Weinman on. We've had Will Kemp on. We've had Paul Campbell on. So we've had a ton of people that we talk about doing watch-alongs and events and Q&As and things like that. So that's available for any level of patron can participate. So please check it out. I really try to make it worth the investment. And we have our merch store, which has a ton of fun Hallmark inspired designs, so check that out. And thanks so much. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
bye.